And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. Go ahead and offer up apologies this morning as Juju and I did not get on last night. I had to do Mooresville football as they took on Providence, fell to Providence 33-13. But Juju will be back with a snippet in the morning, and we'll have a show tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Chuck Bittner will join us, covers D2 football. But glad to have you with us this morning. A little bit better weather. Not great. Still not happy with it yet. Still got like 300,000% humidity, but we'll get there. It's just gonna take time. I'm a fat man. I don't like it. That's just the way it is. So once we get rid of the humidity, things will be better. Some rain they're talking about, but as typical weather does, they keep pushing it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And pushing it out, and a little bit of rain yesterday morning, and then they were talking about rain today, but about a 20-30% chance of rain this morning. And now we'll get it straightened out. We'll see where we go. But glad to have you aboard with us this morning. A lot of things to talk about over the weekend. My Tigers still are not very good. That was obvious. They still haven't fixed it. I don't know what is going on. And I guess the part that scares me is I'm not so sure they know what's going on down there. But there's something that's not quite right, not quite kosher. And then I think what happens and you can maybe give a little opinion on this as well, when you take a top-tier team like that and they start to have some issues, they're not quite who they were, all of a sudden they become real to everybody else. Folks feel like they can go in and play with them and maybe beat them. And I think that's what's happening. It's kind of the way that some folks looked at Tiger Woods there for a while. When he had some issues, they become human. And that's where the problem comes from. And I think that's what's happening a little bit with Clemson right now. They're just not playing up to par, and everybody's kind of caught up with them. And I don't feel like, from an offensive standpoint, I don't think there's a defense out there that really feels threatened and feels like they can't play with them.
Well, there's always sharks in the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, when you're
you're always going to get everybody's best shot.
Yeah, and when you're the great white, shark, swimming around, nobody's going to mess with you. But as soon as you get injured a little bit, great white or not, the other sharks start circling, right? Mm-hmm. So, everything is about mindset. And, we hear a lot in today's world about talent this, talent that. But mindset is not everything, but a huge component of what you do. And look at, with the graduation of what they had last year, ETN, Lawrence, I mean, there's just not that quality, in the backfield or out at receiver. And the offensive line doesn't, look as maybe as sharp as sharp as it has. And, defensively they still rally to the football, and they've had some injuries, and that's fine. I mean, that happens. But I tell you, man, I think if you go back and look at, who's just how the culture itself, was developed when Dabo got there, what he wanted to do, I wonder if there's anything any different that he's done the last couple of 3-4 years after having a run of success that maybe he didn't stick to in whatever facet of his program, and then that's where the real issue is.
This is an outsider looking in, okay? And for me, it's almost like sometimes you've got coaches, and now I'm not just picking on Coach Sweeney, but coaches at any level that have a certain amount of success that they kind of lull themselves into a situation to where, man, nobody can pick players like I can pick players. Nobody can pick offensive schemes or defensive schemes to run like I can. Nobody can recruit like I can. And what happens is you get to a point to where maybe you missed. We all miss on things. And I keep coming back to the thought that I think they've missed on DJ and can't admit it. And they don't have a whole lot behind him to take over.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know. He looks like a different player than last year, and what that has to do with your surroundings. I mean, Sampson, looked really strong until you put him in a situation where you cut his hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think DJ's hair's been cut, around him. I don't know. And what I mean by that is I don't see that type of athlete and player, going from 2 games last year, to doing things and being fairly successful in that and managing things and making plays to all of a sudden not being able to do anything. I don't care how good an athlete somebody is. They have to depend on those around them to complete things. And I don't see that right now with that team at all. Like as far as the offensive side of football.
Don't you think – I understand that you've got to have pieces that complement what you do.
Yes.
I get that.
Yep.
But when you talk about programs that are on that level or programs they talk about all the time in the NFL, between an average quarterback and a franchise quarterback, when they talk about it in the NFL, an average quarterback can keep you from losing, but a franchise quarterback can put the team on their back and help you win.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Clemson has had for the previous 2 quarterbacks. They've had quarterbacks that not only could they manage and keep you from losing, but when they needed to, they could take the team on their back and make some things happen. I don't see that level of confidence in DJ's eyes right now, to me, whether it's
That's a good point.
whether they're not – I'm just seeing a lack of confidence.
I wouldn't have it either.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm running for my life. I got guys, if I'm throwing a ball, they're running the wrong route. I mean, there's more to just, looking at a football game, when you see an incomplete pass, you think, well, gosh, he can't throw. Go back and look at the film and understand the combination of routes.
Yes.
People are not running their read routes appropriately based on what they've done in the past because of the lack of athleticism and the playmaking they've got based on what they've had in the past. DJ's situation is 100% different. If he had ETN back there and had 3 solid offensive linemen out of the 5, and he had Hunter Renfrow, things would be a little different. This is a personnel issue, and I think way too much is being put on number 5. But that is the nature of the beast. That is the nature of it.
But that's how you get to be the top-tier quarterback in a top-tier program. Now,
he's doing what?
Being able to step above some of the adversities that you've got.
He can't help it when guys don't run the right route.
So where does that come from? Does that come from have they missed on recruiting? Have they missed on coaching opportunities?
Well, they're not taking anybody through the portal. Dabo doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And other teams do. And, if you've got a 4 or 5-star offensive lineman that is disgruntled I'm just giving an example. This is not just like Arkansas. And he says, hey, I want to go to Clemson. You're like, no, we don't do that. Well, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But, you either play the game like everybody else and modify it how you need to, or, they got a lot of guys that have left.
Mm-hmm.
And not, freshmen coming in are not the same thing as 2- and 3-year college kids that have been waiting their turn and coming in that are hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to have to be revisited, or it's going to get much worse.
Brian's exactly right. He said experience, but I'll go back again, Brian. This is the part that bothers me. This is not a team much like an Alabama, a Georgia, an Oklahoma, an Ohio State. Those teams are supposed to be in that position to where they keep the chute full.
Yep.
And when one goes down, it's not a crippling effect. You've got other players that can step up and play. Andrew said, speaking of Hunter Renfrow, did you see that defensive play last night? Absolutely. That was a tattoo play right there. That was amazing.
Think about how LSU won the national championship. Where was Joe Burrow before he was at LSU? He was at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Where did he go? LSU. He needed a place to play. They brought in Fields from Georgia.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you this question. When you, I don't know what the philosophy is. I don't know what the Dabo's methodology is consider when you're talking about not taking transfers in. To me, if it's something you're not breaking the rules, you're just playing by the rules like everybody else. But it seems a little more to me, if you won't bring a transfer in, it's almost like you're saying, look, if I thought you could have played, I'd have brought you here to start with. It's almost a little bit like an ego thing, because to be the best that you can be, you bring in the best that you can bring in to compete. I don't like the transfer thing. I don't like bringing in a kid over a kid that's been here for 3 years working their butt off, but that's the way the model is today.
Right. So, I think the one thing to always keep in mind is, we talk about not putting, players, people in general, in a box. Everyone has their story. Because someone wants to transfer doesn't mean that they weren't dedicated to where they were, that they weren't necessarily happy where they were. There may be a family. There are a ton of reasons. The ones that we immediately go to are the ones, well, he just wasn't happy because he wasn't playing. And that may or may not be right. But I don't think everybody should be put in that box either. And I think, that is a major, major mistake. Mm-hmm. When you look at Joe Burrow, and he's going to LSU, when he contacted them and wanted to go there, they're like, okay. But they listened to his story. They just didn't say, yeah, come on. They wanted to know. The problem is with the programs that don't succeed on a regular basis is they're the ones that say, yeah, come on in, that's fine. You're a 5-star player. We won't. They don't do very little background check because they all care about the style instead of the substance. And I just think that they use this transfer portal to try to level things out. You can't do that. You can't take away from those that have. Well, anyway, but this is going to continue to be chaos. They're going to have to get back to having rules, Lanny, where you have a year. If you don't like it, you can transfer, but you need to sit out.
There's a plus side to it, because whether you like it or not, it has made college football much more competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, more balanced, more parity. For whatever reason, it's got to have something to do with that. It's still got to have something to do with the holdover players that are staying because of the extra time, because of the virus. I don't think you can pinpoint it to just one specific thing. I think it's a combination of things.
Yeah, I just don't see it really making. I just have a different view of it. I think having 5 and 6 and sometimes even 7-year players for those that have been redshirt and had a medical red shirt before the virus hit. Mm-hmm. I think that has a lot to do with the quality of college football right now, with the experience of playing. We'll let you play these 4 games, but it doesn't count this year. That's a lot. And I think in 3 or 4 years, when you see this backlog wash out and things get back to you have 5 years to play 4, that the transfer portal thing will just end up being more chaos than it will be helpful. Right. I just don't see it. Long term, I don't see it. I think it's exciting early on, but it's not going to affect your people that have the coaches in place. We always get back to it, but Alabama, it's just not going to happen. And I got to tell you, any hopes Dabo ever had of going back to Alabama, even if he did or didn't, it's over now.
Yeah,
it's over now because. It's just over.
I just wonder what the long-term ripple effect is going to be out of this. Clemson fell out of the top 25 this week, and they should be.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I really don't know. But I go back to the thing that we've said before. When you do the same thing over and over and expect a different outcome, that's the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it's at. There's things that, I made a comment last night on the air with Mooresville's football team with the offense. There were things that they didn't do to try to get their offense some early success, because you got to find something that works. You don't keep going back to the same thing. When you're getting mauled up front, you don't keep trying to stick a 170-pound backup running back between the tackles. It's nothing's going to change, you know. And so that's the part, I guess, that I'm seeing. I'm not seeing adjustments being made.
Right.
I don't care. I'm not talking about adjustments to win games. I'm talking about adjustments to make them have some confidence and move forward and start to get back to where they were. You got to take it in small steps. Fans look at it, I want to win the game. I don't. I want them to get better so they play better, and then the wins will come.
That's right.
You got to start with the pieces first. You can't just say to pick up the game. So that's where my concern is.
Well, think about this. It's what you and I talked about. It's human nature, right? You start pressing, be like, oh, and then you immediately revert back to what makes you comfortable instead of having a long-term approach at things and saying, okay, this is what we're trying to achieve. You immediately start doing things. Well, now it's, 3rd and 8 and you're running off tackle, instead of maybe, doing a sprint out and trying to get out in the corner and make something happen. You go back to what's comfortable. We see it all the time. And we're creatures of habit.
And you've got to have, like I do, even from a defensive standpoint, you've got to have certain sets, certain things you can go to that you feel like, okay, I can get back to an even keel and we start moving forward again. We've gotten beat down. Now we got to go back to what our money situation so that we know what works, come up with something that works. You got to have some of that stuff in your back pocket to be able to get that motivation and confidence level righted again, because if you don't, you're never going to move forward. You're just going to continue to get pressed down.
And that's a great point. And when you're coaching and you're working, especially during a game, people immediately, especially coaches, they're getting 8 to 10 yards a clip. They're doing this, they're doing that, especially when you're coaching defense. That's going to happen. And what you have to do is you have to manage a game. You can't set every defensive play up
one play at a time.
Yes, to stop that play every time or that specific down. It's crazy. It's like, they're doing this and we got to do – I'm like, I'm sitting there watching on TV, or if I'm experiencing myself, and I'm like, wait a minute. We have to do things early on to see what works, to see what doesn't work, so we can put ourselves in position to have a chance to be successful at the end of the game, instead of – just going all out and holding them the first 3 series on 3
My
and out.
play calling on offense and defense was to find my money plays that would work, so that when I start expanding that playbook as the game goes on and it doesn't work, I've got something I could come back to and try to rebuild that confidence level.
Point,
I mean, you have, and you don't know till you get to the game and see what you're doing.
That's right.
I mean, you can look at film, you can practice, you can do all that, but you got to put it in play at game speed against your opponent and find a couple of things that you feel comfortable, that your players feel comfortable with,
Amen.
And then you build from there. Ronnie said adjust to the talent that you have. That's what Ford's saying, and what I'm saying about Clemson. I'm not seeing adjustments. They just keep going back and, this is going to fall. We're going to get this to click. And you can't do that. You can't do that.
When I was running the offense, this is 15, 20 years ago, whatever it was, when I was at Madison, I had a script. And the reason I had a script the first, 12 plays a game, most people do 10. I did 12 because I wanted different formations to see how the other team lined up. We may go 3 and out 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
Okay. I want to see how to manage the game as we move forward. I'm not trying to score. If we do, that's great. But I'm trying to see how the defense will line up, what they are going to give us versus what they want to take away, see where the point of emphasis is, who are they keying on, and then, make adaptations and adjustments from there. I do it defensively every Friday night.
That was why whoever I had in the box, I would tell them what I'm looking for, because I knew what I was setting up and looking at on the field. I needed to know how they react to this formation, if I do motion, if down and distance has an effect on it, or if I do it, because that helps me scheme in advance to what I feel like I can do. Let me take a break. We'll be back with some more. We got some college football to talk about, NFL football to talk about. Tommy got a big win in New England. We'll talk about that.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back. We'll be right back. I had to step out of the set for just a second. He's a busy man. He's all dressed in his active business wear today. I'm just my same old slob self. That's just the way that I roll. I am who I am. I think you just need another Diet Mountain Dew. Got to get him kicked off and going here this morning. But it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. You don't have to hurry. It's okay. Everything's fine. It's everything fine. A couple comments that came in.
Sounds it is.
While we were away. Bill Clyde, good morning. My wife said they did let DJ scramble some. I don't know where that's come from. I think this is also hurting Tony Elliott's chances because his name had been kicked around a lot about maybe moving up into a head coaching role. And with the anemic offense that they've got, that's probably hurting some. Stephen Lowe, good morning. Sent you some money yesterday or wherever I send my money. Andrew said, I noticed in the BC game that a good bit of Clemson's issues could be resolved by making the routine plays like catching the ball that should be caught.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The routes are just man. There's just a lot of they're going to have to get that right to just so they can get first downs.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You got to go back to some basics. You got to go back to some basics somewhere, don't you?
Yeah, and it's really hard. Again, I'm not one that's going to pile on DJ because his situation is 100% different than Trevor.
I'm not piling on as much as nobody's making any adjustments that I'm seeing. I'm seeing the same team show up doing the same stuff, and that's concerning to me. Let me switch to the polls for just a second. Could Georgia become the new team out of the SEC? They look pretty impressive. Somebody said there's four defensive linemen for Georgia that'll be first-round picks. We'll have to see.
Oh, very likely. The
latest poll, Alabama, Georgia, Iowa, Penn State, Cincinnati at number 5. They embarrassed Notre Dame.
Cincinnati should be 3 right now.
Followed by Oklahoma, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, BYU. Can Michigan make a run out of the Big Ten, get to the playoffs?
No.
Really?
Go ahead.
You think?
Next question. I ain't even going to start that. No.
You don't think they can beat Ohio State this year or Penn State?
They can beat Penn State. I don't think they're going to beat Ohio State. And then also, Iowa doesn't play really anybody the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. So if anybody's going to make a run to the Big Ten championship, they've got that opportunity.
But they got to win it.
Huh?
They got to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can make a run.
Yeah.
Ohio State at 7, Oregon at 8, Michigan at 9, BYU 10, Michigan State, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, Notre Dame, Coastal Carolina. That's your top 15. Kentucky with the big win and undefeated, followed by Ole Miss. They laid an egg as Lane Kiffin was tell them to bring the popcorn. It was going to be an exciting night. Boy, they got just.
Yeah, but he listen, people, whether they like him or not, his job is to do as much as he can do to get his guys ready against the hands down number one team in the country. And you know what? You got to have that edge. Recruits like that. Now how long he's going to be at Ole Miss, I don't know. He's probably going to be there another 3 or 4 weeks, and then he's going to go to USC. He's going to go back there.
You think so?
Absolutely. Because he's a West Coast guy.
I understand, but still.
Well, what are they going to do? Bring Pete Carroll back?
No.
I'm just saying that's.
I would move on to Luke Fickell first.
No way.
Because he's got an AD. That's his AD.
Right.
That's
I understand that. Luke, use the force. Stay where you are. Lane, let us know how USC is.
I don't think he'll be successful. Let me put it that way. Wake Forest still undefeated. They're 19 in the nation. Big games left. The final. Let's see. Is it the final? No. 3 out of the last 4 will be tough. Carolina on November 6th. NC State on the 13th. Clemson on the 20th. Clemson used to buy Wake Forest home games and pay them to come to Clemson. Clemson may take another loss. The only thing that may save them, if Clemson gets beat at home by Wake Forest, There could be some unrest. That's going to be a great game
Did
coming down the
Clemson
pipe.
and Carolina play this year?
No.
Oh.
One of the things I don't like about, that have to make it to the championship game. I'm not convinced. They can make it to the conference championship game.
I mean, my thing is, okay, you got 742 teams in your conference. You know, let's get back to the 8 or 9.
I agree.
So, because you're not the SEC, you're not going to be. Go back to what made you unique and try to build your base from there. Nothing is attractive about playing Syracuse and Notre Dame. Not that I'm, of course, in football, I understand they're independent, but, you know, and Pittsburgh and all. I mean, that's not ACC football.
And here's the thing. You know. Look at the ACC. You've got Wake Forest on top, followed by State, followed by Clemson. All right. They've got to beat Wake to have an opportunity. They've already lost to State. So if State beats Wake, Clemson's got some work to get into the conference championship.
Yeah. And look down at the Coastal.
You got Pitt, followed by Virginia Tech, Carolina with 2 losses already. I don't see how they get in.
They would have to win. Virginia Tech's obviously got to drop 3, right? They're 1-0.
Yep.
Pittsburgh would have to – Carolina would have to beat Pittsburgh, right? And Pittsburgh would have to lose another one. That way they got the top. That's the only way they get – that's what I'm saying. That's the only way you get in. I don't know, man. When Carolina and Clemson, Carolina Duke, Clemson Duke, you know, Virginia, when they don't play each other and they're running up and playing Pittsburgh, that Syracuse, I don't know, man. It's almost like going out and trying to, you know, become, you know, just going out and throwing darts and hoping that you hit a bullseye or at least get on the board, you know, from a long distance away. You know, instead of playing darts at your regular dart throwing distance, you're back, you know, another 40 feet, and you're just doing all you can do to get it on the board. That's what this is. You know, get back to the distance that you know where you can hit the board and then hit the bullseye, or at least have an opportunity to once in a while. Major disengagement, major. There's nothing exciting about that. The SEC, of course it is. Here, no.
You know, this is something you alluded to, and then I'll get away from this. Dabo Swinney went in depth with his position on the transfer portal Monday night.
Oh.
Speaking on his weekly call-in radio show, Swinney again addressed the longstanding policy he has of not bringing in players from other programs. The winner of 2 national championships made it clear that doing things his way has worked well for the Tigers. Up until now, that's the part that scares me about him. Yeah. Okay? That's the part that scares me. I think we have done what we have done around here has worked. We might not make it to a 7th playoff in a row. It might not happen, but I think who we have been and the way we have done things, I can't tell you how many times over my 13 years that everybody else has said, we've got to do this, we have to do that, and what we have done is done the Clemson way. It has led us to many playoffs and multiple national championships.
I don't disagree with anything he said, except none of that was going on. All
that
was going on while the transfer portal was non-existent.
That is correct.
Okay, so now that's been introduced. That's all fine and dandy when the playing field was level and it took people a year and a half to get the player back on the field when they transferred in. That is not the case now.
No, I
agree. That is not the case. And I'm sorry, you can say those things, and he's being truthful when you have guys like ETN, okay, Trevor, even Kelly Bryant for how many ever games or a year before, and then Watson before that, okay? But the way things are now, you have to adapt or you will die. And, I appreciate what he's saying.
I do too.
That worked. He is 100% right. But the circumstances have now changed. There's a different dealer at the table, and the hands aren't being dealt.
That's correct.
Like they used to be.
He said this, the only thing that's really going to change for us is if we've got starters packing up and leaving, or we have a bunch of young players pack up and leave, because up until now you wouldn't do that. You'd sit a year. Young people always think the grass is greener, especially in today's era. It's just kind of the easy things to do as opposed to getting better, developing on those type of things. And then you've got those big mid-year deals that's going on now in the world with early enrollees. Well, let's just say you sign 15 mid-year guys that come in January. All of a sudden, you've got 5 of them that say, you know what, we don't really like it here, and they leave in May. Well, who are you going to recruit? There's no high school kids to recruit in May, so you have to go to the portal. So for us, it would be if it's strategically something that made us better, that we had a glaring need because of an exodus of a group of players, young players or whatever, kind of get caught in a weird situation. But, you know, he's kind of backtracking a little bit right there so that if he does have to go down that route, he can say, well, I told you if these situations presented themselves, it's hard to go out there in today's times and draw a line in the sand and say we're not going to do this.
Lanny, the kids are not happy because they, you know, and it's the world that we live in now. There's instant self-stardom. You can get on your phone, and everybody in the world now has instant access to you, where you used to, you depended on someone else for your, you know, for your publicity. Now you can do it yourself. You know, we always see it. I'm so blessed to announce that I've been offered such and such by such and such school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so blessed to be, you know, okay, thanks. But anyway, you know, the point is, you know, you can do that in multiple facets now. What happens is they get on campus. They don't let you do this anymore when you get on campus. Mm-hmm. So now all of those feelings, you know, of, you know, excitement and stardom, now you're just a guy, and you go back to that. No, you want attention again, so you can say how blessed you are to announce that you're transferring from Clemson and going to, you know, Winston-Salem State or to, you know, Nebraska or wherever. I'm just giving an example. Wherever, and that way you can talk about you again. Andrew, it's like Terrell Owens said, I love me some me, and that's what you got.
Andrew, that's exactly right. He said Clemson has always been fundamentally sound, and now it's not there. Yeah. And that's right. The basics aren't there. Cincinnati, Richie said, got a win and a $1.2 million payday. Kind of like Appalachian when they went to Michigan and did that, too.
It's the hardest check they've ever got.
Andrew said, got to love the hope of the ACC making the college football playoff is Wake Forest right now.
Yeah, it's over.
Richie said he thought he heard Kiffin say that he brought the popcorn, but he forgot the microwave.
I mean,
Richie said he doesn't think Carolina or Clemson make the championship game. I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Andrew said the way they're playing, Clemson doesn't have a guaranteed win left on their schedule other than UConn. And he also said in regards to Clemson, it might be time to take a walk across the bridge, but I'm not sure I wouldn't jump off quite yet. I agree, but you've got to dial this thing in to where you feel like you've got control again, because right now – I think it's spinning out of control. There's no consistency with anything they're doing because they can't find anything they're comfortable with. It's just like if I'm sitting in this chair and this chair just doesn't quite fit, I'm doing this the whole time. Well, with Clemson, it looks like the chair doesn't fit, but it's on to Cincinnati. I mean, it's almost the Belichick way. We're not going to fix what doesn't fit. We're just going to We're going to motor through the path, and I just don't think that turns out well. Don't think it turns out well at all. Take a time out. Be back in a moment.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com.
Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times.
Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Yeah, welcome back. We'll switch gears here just a little bit, talk a little NFL. Baseball playoffs, they start Monday tonight.
Wild cards tonight.
Tell me your feelings about the wild card.
It's exciting.
I'll give you a couple of baseball questions here for you.
Exciting.
Do you like? We kind of had this discussion because of the way things are, and I don't have a dog in the fight. Do you like the way that you could have two teams with the 2 best records and one of them misses out? Or should you, in baseball and football, be like the NBA and take the top 8 teams? I don't like divisions. I like divisions for play. Yeah. I don't like divisions for playoffs.
No, I do, and I like them. I would like for it to stay like that. It's kind of like, NFL football several years ago. We had, I think it was the NFC West, didn't have anybody that had close to a winning record.
Yeah, got a home game.
That's within the division. I just think it makes things regionally more competitive to do it that way. And that way, there's more excitement about trades and things like that than there are just, how many games can we win? Yeah, it just makes the rivalries more impactful because they mean something. It's like Boston and, the Yankees.
Yeah. Do you like, because of what baseball's based on, do you like a one-game wild card, or would you rather see a 2 out of 3 and make it some sort of
No, I want to see a one size fit or one game, fits all. a
little surprised by that.
Well,
one.
no, and the reason I say this is because they had 162 games to figure it out. So back in May, you maybe should have either tried to win, the game that you just said, well, we'll see what happens. It makes it more. It makes every game, mean something. And you look back on it and say, well, we should have done this, or we shouldn't have wasted our bullpen this night. In a game we were down 3 runs, we should have waited for the next night and made sure we captured the win instead of losing back-to-back games. It's all about strategy. Absolutely love it. Now, when it comes to World Series and playoffs, no, you got to have a series. But when it comes to that, you had 162 games to figure it out, and now you're tied. Okay, now it's time to really figure it out.
Here's your 2 wild card games, the Yankees and the Red Sox tonight at 8 o'clock on ESPN.
Yep.
Cardinals and Dodgers tomorrow night on TBS.
Yep.
And then your other teams that are in, the Rays, White Sox and the Astros, the Braves and the Brewers, the Giants, and to be determined.
Right.
So baseball is getting there.
I want to see more of that too. Scroll back down. See that guy right there going at it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I want to see more of. I think they're too nice.
I thought that was hockey. I go to a hockey game.
Yeah, that's
I go to a hockey game to watch the fights, and a hockey game
went
breaks
to a
out.
fight and a hockey game broke out.
Yeah, it's hard for me to follow that kind of thing. It'll be interesting in baseball. Let me go to NFL. Just run down a couple of games over the weekend. We missed some. There were some games that were completely missed by everybody that were surprises. Bengals played well. Bills annihilated the Texans, which I thought they would. I have not heard from Will Bennett this week. He's keeping on pounding as the Panthers got beat 36-28. Yeah. He was in Dallas to support his Panthers.
He had a couple friends that were down there or went to the game.
Packers
that's awesome.
Beat the Steelers. No surprise there. The Washington football team beat the Falcons. I picked that one. Taylor Heineke is not a bad little quarterback. I don't know he's going to be a great quarterback, but he's pretty good.
Yeah, he does a good job.
I took the Lions just because I needed to try to make something happen, and they lost to the Bears. I think I took the Dolphins over the Colts. The Dolphins have kind of come off the rails too.
They're
I don't know what's going on with that
as
well. That's not been a good look for them. Browns over the Vikings, I took that. I took the Saints and crab legs over the Giants, and that did not work out. Daniel Jones went 28 of 40, 402 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jets over the Titans, didn't see that one coming. I had the Titans all the way.
Yeah.
I think that was one of those that was an all or nothing kind of game, and I think the Saints might have been also.
It was. Yeah.
Chiefs beat the Eagles. No real surprise there, but Jalen Hurts went 32 of 48, 387 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. I was stunned by the Cardinals' win over the Rams, 37-20. That one was a little shocking. Seahawks over the 49ers. I think I took the 49ers in that one. Jimmy G went 14-23, 165 pounds. 165 yards? Is it time for Jimmy G to take a back seat?
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, there's so many guys taken in the draft based off of what they're doing instead of who they're doing it against. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man.
Ravens beat the Broncos. No surprise there. And it was the Bucks over the Patriots.
That was a great game, man. That was intense. That was a chess match.
Mac Jones was the leading quarterback in that game, 31 of 40, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns. He will be solid as the quarterback of the New England Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
He's a system guy.
Yeah,
and then last night you said your Raiders got beat. Justin Herbert, the Chargers, 28-14.
Yep. Raiders took it on the chin. Yeah, Chargers is a great team. There was 3 or 4 picks I had to make to try to get back into the race on our pick'ems thing. I'll tell you what, that was pretty fun to build up to the Brady's return to to Foxborough. What was interesting was everybody said, well, he and Belichick never got to talk or anything. They said last night in the pregame that Belichick actually went into the Bucs locker room and he and Brady had a chance to pull up just 2 chairs and just sit down by themselves and talk for about 20 minutes. And they were talking about it. They said, look, He said, all this stuff that's being said, he said, there's no animosity between those two. He's like, they didn't get to meet because of the pandemic and other reasons, when things were happening. And, of course, this is what, all the people in
business is business.
Monday Night Football. But the thing about it is, you watch Bill Belichick in the interviews away from football, like he is like the nicest, most sincere, genuine person.
Said he's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and like watching, when his daughter was getting married and, just being a normal guy, right? But I will tell you, I got clients that live up there, outside of Boston, and I think I've said this before, but they call him Darth Vader. There's a reason they play the Vader March, in the stadium. Yeah. Along with the big foghorn. They play the Vader March quite a bit too.
The all-miss games that we had and all-hit games, the all-miss games were New Orleans and the Giants. Everybody took New Orleans and Tennessee over the Jets. Yeah. And then the games that were all hits were Cincinnati.
Green Bay, Tampa Bay.
Keever picked Minnesota. That's a rare miss for him. The majority of everybody took Buffalo. The majority of folks took Miami. Everybody took KC. Everybody took Tennessee, New Orleans.
Well, Arizona was a great pick by a couple of guys. That was the
the Rams.
Yeah, beating the Rams.
Andrew.
Yeah,
and Keever.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a great pick.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy a lottery ticket later if I give you
guys a call. The scores look like this. Brett Keever's on top now at 77 points.
I thought David had 80.
Let me go back here and look. Give me total points here. There we go. I hadn't shuffled. David's got 80. Brett's got 77. Randall David and Todd Drum have 77.
Hey, Keever should have quit after the second week.
Todd Herms has 76.
And I don't mean Brett. I mean
Bob
David.
Duckworth has 74. I have 73, tied with Steven. Ford Rembert has dug out of the cellar.
Hey, look.
1 week at a time, one game at a time. He's in there at 72 points. Monty and Rich are tied at 71. Milton at 70. And TJ is at 78. The correct points for this week, Brett was the one that set it on fire. He got 20 points.
Who was second this week?
In points, that Rembert guy. Don't get excited yet.
You know what I didn't pick? I missed a pick on Thursday because I didn't get it in time, which I was going to pick the Bengals. And then last night I went against my gut pick. It's like going back on a test and changing your answers when you're done. Oh, my gosh.
We had a few miss everything. How about the implosion of Florida on Saturday?
Yeah,
I didn't see that one coming.
I don't think anybody else could have. Yeah. I mean, imagine if you bought the odds against that game.
Yeah.
For points and a win.
And Fort Rembert picked Arizona State against UCLA, the only winner there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I did some research on that one. About 30 seconds.
I was going to say, you're starting to get to where you do that research thing now.
No, I'm not. This is fun stuff.
No, it is.
I have a good time with it, and it's, a lot of, it's, you're sitting there, and I've gotten to the point now where I used to not do this at all, and I'd pick every week just for myself, but now I'm hanging on every game.
Every thread.
And my 10-year-old's like, Dad, you should have picked the Chargers.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I told you that I said, dude, you never said that.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah, Dad. First time I ever picked against the Steelers. Ever.
I picked against the Steelers. I picked against the Panthers.
It was.
I picked
It really
against
was.
my Tigers.
And I got to tell you, I didn't lose any sleep over it. I thought it was going to really bother me. It didn't.
They're not very good. I'm sorry. Just go ahead and get ready. They're not very good.
Hey, they got some – well,
Todd Herm said he was listening to the song Free Falling all weekend with his picks. Richie said everybody missed Oregon. Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah,
Vic Fangio did get mad about the Ravens running the ball at the end of the game, trying to break a record.
Did you see that?
That's just
did you see it though? He used to work on Harbaugh's staff.
Know. But that's childish. Or am
I
missing something?
I'm going to tell you what. You're going to see more and more of this to get engagement into the game by fans because the younger generation is not watching NFL football, NBA
They're
basketball.
not watching anything.
And they're sure as not going to watch Major League Baseball because it takes too long.
Yeah.
Country, listen to this. I heard the other day, and you just hear things and talk to people, but I heard country clubs are in trouble long term because, because people don't want to go spend 3.5, 4 hours playing golf, 5 hours.
I've got a fix for that.
12 holes.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
No.
It takes care of it.
Yeah.
2 hours, and you got to play. The first one is a par 5 to get everybody. Then you got 3 threes in a row, and then play. For that way, you're moving.
Nope.
And just going.
No, I'm completely in. And 12 holes, you get it over in about 2.5 hours.
That's it.
And you can make it. Yeah.
That's it.
Nope.
But I heard the other day that there's some talk about that already.
Well, what they need to do is they need to take 18-hole golf courses and structure them into 3 6s. So you could play. Remember when Rock Barn used to have 27 holes?
No, yeah. No, and
Do
again,
the same thing?
you'll hear the
I'll let you know when 4 gets that built.
older. No.
Yeah. I'll let you know.
Anyway,
I'll let you know when you get it built. Have a great day, everybody. Be back in the morning. And Juju and I'll be back tomorrow night. I can't get for some reason I'm having mouse problems this morning. I don't know if it ate some poison or what it did. Have a great day. If it rains, stay dry. See you tomorrow.